then I have some other things to do. And every time I do things that I wanted to do and getting me closer to my goal, I celebrate. Why? Because if it feels good, there's no brain resistance. And as I said, your brain is designed to conserve energy. Anytime you have to think or change a habit or change a behavior, it requires energy. So if you do too many things that we want to change at once, it will go, oh, no, dude, I'm done. That's too hard. Let me go back to my old patterns because I don't have to think. I don't have to concentrate. I don't have to use the energy.
I never give up. I never give up. I never give up. Turn around.
Hi guys, welcome back to Neff Inspiration, my show on YouTube and as a podcast with me, your host, Stephan Neff. Today, I have got an absolute honor, privilege, and I'm blessed to have Dominika Staniewicz with me because she has just about released her new book. And her book is, when I heard about the title, I thought, bloody hell, that's how I live my life. So here's my sister, my long-lost sister, who I have never met. I believe, wow, that's fantastic. I need to have her on my show. Dominika, welcome to my show.
Stephan, thank you for having me. It's such an honor to be your guest and be able to serve your audience and bring some more value to you. And, I'm so excited that you said you lived this way because I started living this way after all the growth, and the training that I've done. I had this aha moment. I'm like, we got to start changing this. This got to change. This is not the only way to live. And don't get me wrong, it works for a lot of people. And we're still keeping it a secret because they have no clue what we're talking about.
That's right. Exactly right. Do. See, yeah, that's how you bring up the tension.
I know.
No, I think the reality is we both are people who have seen now the value of light because simply we have been in quite a nasty darkness, and the darkness is it's such a nasty place to be in. Certainly it was for me, and no two ways around for you. But here we are, we cherish the light. But I think to understand where our passion is coming from, I think we need to go a bit back into the past, into the not so nice time. You didn't wake up one day when you were 13 and say, hey, I'm going to write a book about habits and about going out, conquering the world.
I love you. You're so amazing. You think I'm 30. Oh, my goodness. What a year. Add 18 years to that, and you're right on.
So come on, then. What was your darkness then?
So first of all, I'm going to bring out the fact that I cherish the darkness. That's a very different approach. Because if I do not cherish the darkness and my past, I will not be where I am. You have to acknowledge what happened. You cannot just pretend it didn't happen. It was awful. Was it easy? No, it was not. Was it pleasant? No, it was not. But because I've experienced this, I know exactly how it is there. And I can say, okay, well, look where I am now. That's the past, and I cannot change it either way. So when we talk about the darkness, I think there are quite a few dark moments in my life. Besides stupid things like being epileptic and everybody thinking I'm a drug addict, very unimportant. And some professors at a university telling me that if I'm dyslexic, then my job is to stay at home, have babies, and I'm pretty, so probably somebody will want to impregnate me. And that was told to me by one of the British professors at a university I was at.
It never worked for me. I don't know.
No. Okay. So, well, anyway, so basically I didn't really follow his lead. I didn't listen to him. So dear professor, thank you for saying that because that gave me just fire. And I was like, okay. But the biggest darkness in my life, I think there were two of them, was death of my 16-month-old son, who I was trying to save on a bed when I got out of a shower. He was 16 months old. He went to sleep and never woke up. And I was trying to give CPR that I didn't know how to give, and all the insights, like all the food that he ate previously was coming out. And then I called 911, and then they took him to another room, and there was the sound. And nothing else. And after that, 2 years took me to crawl out of that place that I was in. I don't remember much. I have just stories of how I acted. And then it was the healing process, which nobody understood, which was me saying to everybody, hi, my name is Dominika. My son just died. With that being said, he was the son of a man who beat me, abused me, raped me, had me sewn after I gave birth, because he raped me after I gave birth to his son. He had a gun to my head. And I believe it's all my fault. And then my son died, who was his son. So that was a huge, huge dark moment. And it lasted about 4 years in my life. And then I pretended everything is okay. I went to a psychologist, a therapist, didn't choose the right one. It's important to choose the right one. She told me after I split up from that gentleman, you should live for your child. And then when my child done, I just barged in. They tried to stop me. I barged in during her other session, whoever she was with, and I yelled at her. I'm like, and who am I supposed to live for now? And then I run into some psychologists, some other people, and nothing worked. I was hyper successful in Poland, hyper successful. I was advising the president on changes. I was part of the National Commission. I was negotiating minimum wages. I was working with the UK. I was working with the European Parliament. My name was recognizable. I was on media, social media, anywhere and everywhere, invited to conferences, speaking, writing articles, predicting the trends in the labor market. I mean, you ask, I had it. And I would come home and cry, miserably cry. I was so masculine that Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sylvester Stallone could take lessons from me. And I was angry. I was frustrated, and I couldn't get along with my mom, and everything had to be on my terms. And then one day I run into this girl who was my friend, and it was a time where I split up with another man who I was with for 5 years, and I was assuming I'm going to marry, but he said he doesn't love me anymore. And half a year later, he got married to somebody else. And that's okay. That's okay. I'm grateful because of him. I get to ski. My daughter started playing guitar. Another one of my daughters started taking photography seriously. And I learned how to sail. We all sail now. And it's all because of him. He was absolutely a gift to my life, because he was the last person at age of 36 when I said, okay, this is not how life has to look like. There's something wrong with this program. There's no way this is how this is supposed to be. And I started searching. It started from books, and books were enough for a while. But when you acquire knowledge and you do nothing with it, you're just walking encyclopedia and you're still miserable. Yeah, that was me. So guys, if you're reading books, that's awesome. That's great. And what happens next? So for me, next was getting a coach. I got myself a coach, and she literally, I wouldn't say fix, but she allowed me to get so many aha moments and implement small changes in such a short period of time. And I'm like, why the hell didn't do that sooner, like 10 years ago when I was going through all of this? I mean, my life would have been so different. And that's good I didn't do that, because now I have the knowledge and the experience to guide others. So then came Tony Robbins, and I still crew his events, and I go to his events, and I listen, and I read books. Right now, I'm reading Freedom Point by Deborah Betsberry. It's about growth and emotional kind of feeling, feminine kind of path. So I started working on me. And since I was 36, I have 1 or 2 coaches permanently. One is for business, one is for my personal life, because I realized that when I do it on my own, it just freaking takes forever. Why not cut the time in half? Every successful player, every successful NFL, every successful soccer player, anybody who's successful has a coach. Now, definition of successful is very different for every person. I want to be successful in my definition. And I created that definition. As I grew, I started not only letting go, because letting go is important. What's more important is just embracing the past the way it was, not looking for change, not looking for blame, and taking responsibility for what I did that could have been done better. Notice I didn't say wrong, because I didn't know how to do it any differently. But I took responsibility and said, hey, I got divorced because I was a crappy wife. That was one of the reasons. Now, the second reason I got divorced is because I didn't love the man I married. And I didn't have the strength to say after we got engaged that maybe this is not a good idea. And I took responsibility for that. And it's not his fault that this happened. It just happened. Life, some people say life lives. So it lifed me. And how I responded to it, that was what I took responsibility for. And oh gosh, I don't wish any man a wife like I was. Yes, I would cook and, dinner was ready. The level of me being annoying, I think I got a Ph.D. times 4. The fact that he still loved me was a surprise. I mean, I would kill a person like me. The fact when I started growing that people were actually friends with me, with my behaviors and reactions and my bluntness, I would always say, oh, you can always trust me because I say what I think. And that's true. That's true. I mean, it's good to have people say what they think. And there's always a time to say how you think at the right time. And the truth is, not everybody needs to know what you think. What do they care? It's their life. And so there was plenty of growth, and Mel Robbins and Jay Shetty and John C. Maxwell, and Buddhism that I explored. I read all the Torahs, and I read the Quran and everything that I could get my hands on. And I realized that the beauty of life is that we get to create it, that the creation comes from how we want to experience it and how we define it. And nobody can define that for me. And while being in the Tony Robbins world, again, I love him. I still do his trainings. I crew, I serve. I love the environment. I also realized that when I grew as a woman, is that he's so hyper-masculine that with psychology, what he offers only works for a group of people. And that's what we were talking at the beginning. He offers burn your boats, massive action, take control of your life. That works in 2 cases. One, when you went through severe trauma and you're ready to go, and you'll have the energy for about 3 months to proceed with that massive action. And then the energy goes like a balloon.
Correct.
It's not sustainable. Or 2, it works for people who are still in the need of proving themselves. And because they cannot fathom not controlling the outside world, they start controlling everything that is here and now. And don't get me wrong, for some people, it works beautifully. And then some people who grow past that, they go, I don't want to live like this. Like, I don't want to be Tony Robbins. I love him. I suck his knowledge in and I go, okay, what works for me? What can I take from him and make it my own? And that's where the magic of dreaming big, acting small, and achieving success came in, which is the book that's coming out on the 10th of January. And what I want to say is that there is a beautiful Stanford study. Another person that I absolutely adore is Andrew Huberman, the Huberman Lab. If you're not listening to them, listen. He's a phenomenal person who brings neuroscience into an average person. I've been trained by Dr. Amen, who is a world-class neuropsychiatrist, and we use brain knowledge and your blood work and how your brain works in neuroplasticity to coach you. And then I have Dr. Joseph McClendon III, who is a neuropsychologist who trained me. And we have methods called neuroencoding. And we use, again, the same patterns, your body, your thoughts, your brain, certain things, because the truth is, I mean, I can talk about this forever. Anyway, so let's go back to the study that I told you about, because that study is phenomenal. They have found over 20 years that they did this study that when you are praising somebody for who they are, you're going to great because you're amazing. You're going to great because you're so smart. we literally program a person to look for success that's attached to their identity. What happens is they start looking for easy way to be praised. That's very natural. There's nothing wrong with that. If we start praising people for the effort, not necessarily for the outcome, but how great, I like how you found a solution to this problem, although it was difficult. I like that you were doing something for the project every day. I like that you always looked for answers outside of your workbook, whatever it is. So we're praising the process and the activity within the process, not the person. Notice there's not your grade. There's nothing about you. Yeah. Those people with time start enjoying the process. Uh-huh. And what they do later on, they start looking for more challenging tasks because they enjoy those little tiny things that they do. And with time, they're much further along and much happier than the people who are looking for the outcome. And with that in mind, I looked into studies on how to give feedback to kids, how to work with adults. I looked into all my knowledge. I have a master's in sociology, in processes, patterns, Dr. Amen, brain knowledge, typology of a brain, 17 brain types. And I found that there are phenomenal ways we can reprogram ourselves. I know it sounds weird, but our brain is lazy, okay? It's lazy. And your brain and mine and everybody's brain, it is literally designed to optimize and use as little energy as possible. So in case something happens, it has the reservoir of energy. So that's why you create habits. That's why you create patterns. That's why I use this hand, now this hand to move my hair. And I'm not thinking about it. It's a pattern. It's a habit. Now, if you guys are driving a car or something, don't do it. But if you're not and you're sitting in somewhere place, look at your phone and give yourself a high five. I can give you a high five to the screen. Look what you just did. You smiled. I didn't tell you to smile. And I guarantee you that every person that did that smiled. Because it's wired into your brain and it happened without you knowing. Yeah. We know so much about the brain that we can use and harness that those patterns, that power of your brain and create new behavior. So, oh my God, I can talk about this forever.
And you're doing so well and doing it. Oh, bloody hell. You're so beautiful. There were so many nuggets of wisdom there. The first one that you came out with was that you actually embraced your past and that you cherished the darkness and accepted it for what it was. In my case, I recently wrote an article that said PTSD is my superpower. And it's very much along those lines because, and in all fairness, I mean, I've had 450, 500 guests now on my show. And many guests I ask, if you had a chance, would you, what would you change in your past? And most of them, I can't remember a single one actually who did not say, no, I would not change anything. Because without what happened to me or without my actions, I wouldn't be the human that I'm now. So that is such a powerful acceptance and taking ownership. And that allows you then to move forward. But just actually taking action and taking ownership, you already being active. You're no longer a victim. You have already turned into a survivor and probably soon become a thriver if you're not already budding those skills yet. And that's
I'm there. I'm no survivor. I hate the term survivor. I really do. It gives the permission to use your pain as a shield. A survivor, it brings people in and goes, oh my God, I'm so sorry this happened to you. You feed off of people's feeling sorry for you.
Is that not more the victim? That is what I attribute to the victim role.
It is, but the survivor is just a prettier way of calling yourself a victim, saying, I went through it and look at me, and you're getting the significance and the love and attention because you're being a survivor. You're carrying as a shield. Look, I'm a survivor.
I see it a little bit different because I have got these people living in me, and the victim is very passive. The survivor is a guy that I don't let out too often, but maybe 18 months ago or so, he came out. He had to come out because my life was in a mess then. And this guy is ice cold, like an ice cold winter morning. There is no emotion. He can see absolutely exactly what needs to be done. He's the guy who chops your head off and drinks out of the skull of his enemies. Is that kind of dude. No regrets, no emotions. This needs to be done. Whom. And I liked the clarity. It was like an out-of-body experience when he came back in suddenly out of the blue. And it was this kind of, fuck me, okay. But he allowed me to do the things that needed to be done. But then I quickly put him back in the dungeon.
I think there is a better word for that state.
What? Teach me one. Teach me one.
I'm trying to think because I've never heard a description like this, but Survivor has something about carrying on a pedestal your past.
Okay.
And what you're describing doesn't have carrying on a pedestal.
No.
Past.
No, it's the kind of laser clear focus where everything else drops away. And you just have to do it. It doesn't matter if it is hard for you or not hard for you. You just do it. That's not a habit. That is a weird state that is scary for me because in that state I might make decisions that potentially I regret later. But sometimes you have to be that hard nose. Maybe masculine. Masculine. And then women will have the same. So I wouldn't call it yin and yang or something like that. But maybe something will come to you in the rest of the interview. But let's go back to your book and your facts, because I so much was there. I very much subscribed to Tony Robbins and all those self-help books. And initially, I read them all with a glass of wine in my hand. Oh, yeah, that's really good shit. That's really good. Yeah, I need to do that one day. Yeah, that's right. That's really good. Yeah. Okay, so it was that kind of, well, I was further than many others because many others buy the book and then put it on the shelf and look at it. So I actually opened it and read it.
Awesome.
But I didn't take action.
Every step closer is good, right? Yeah. When you underline, when you take note, anything gets you closer. But the key word is gets you closer. It doesn't get you there.
That's right. But we are in instant gratification. Please. I want to read it and I want to do one action and I want to be there. I want to be Tony Robbins myself. I want to have this energy. Yes, bring it on. Is there an app for that? Wait, let me look.
It's beautiful. That is a good state to have, kind of when things, get you out of your seat and you go, oh my God, I want this. And then you go and you do it and you're like, is it sustainable? Most people don't ask themselves the question. Let's rewind. I would invite you to ask yourself a question. Is it sustainable to be in that state?
Absolutely.
Because being always hyped up and always joyful and always happy is absolutely not doable. And what I've learned is that one of the things we've lost in the process of growth and self-development is I want you to look at parents when they have little kids. Now, you're a man. Let's use a men example. Do you watch sports?
No. I'm not. No. I'm probably ostracized now but I can't stand watching sports.
Men that
doing
watch
things.
Sports.
Yeah.
Okay. Have you seen them watch sports?
Yeah.
Okay. So when they're, cheering up their team, probably looks something like this. And they're watching till the end. They scored a goal, but that's not important because they haven't won yet.
Oh.
Oh no, they passed the ball. That's not important either. We're waiting for the final result. No, they go, yes, you passed 2 millimeters. Oh my God, the ball is closer. Oh my God, he's doing it. He's coming closer. Oh no, but he's going to recover. We are all in it. Men are all in it, celebrating the tiniest thing for their sports team. But when we move that little needle, that tiny thing, when we do it, oh no, that's not good enough. No, I'm not. Correct.
How
the heck?
Yeah.
Does that work? See, people enjoy watching sports because of the process of celebration. At the end, it really doesn't matter who wins, because they had the whole experience of getting closer to the goal, and that little goal, and passing the ball, and catching on the little things that they did right. And they celebrate that.
Nice.
When we have little kids in our house, when they take a first step and they fall, do we go, "Oh, you idiot, how could you fall? I mean, what an idiot falls after first step. I mean, what a kid are you? You know, you're just useless.
Of course.
I hate
Of
you."
course.
No, of course not. We go, "Oh my God, good first step. Yay. Keep going. Okay, come on. One more step. And the brain of the kid goes, that feels good. That feels good. I want to try it again."
Mm.
So with that being said, this is something that we're missing in life. Because if you look at adulthood, we celebrate a raise, a new girlfriend, new wife, divorce, new kid, new house, new car, and maybe a few other job changes. What is it? In 80 years, 10 times? That's pathetic life to
Touché.
Celebrate 10 times in your life.
Touché.
But every day we got a reason to celebrate, because we are moving the needle. And there's a whole different way of goal setting that I teach, but we're not going to get into this because that's another whole different story. What I'm saying is that look at your life and ask yourself, what did you do good today? Just today. I, for example, did my makeup, put on a nice shirt, and I showed up on a call with you, and we're doing a podcast serving other people.
Exactly.
And then I have some other things to do. And every time I do things that I wanted to do and getting me closer to my goal, I celebrate. Why? Because if it feels good, there's no brain resistance. And as I said, your brain is designed to conserve energy. Anytime you have to think or change a habit or change a behavior, it requires energy. So if you do too many things that we want to change at once, it will go, "Oh, no, dude, I'm done. That's too hard. Let me go back to my old patterns, because I don't have to think. I don't have to concentrate. I don't have to use the energy." And this is the simple way of explaining neuroscience. There's plenty of other wonderful things in there. I don't know if you know, but if you want to be creative, you cannot be logical. Creativity does not work with logic. So when we're bored, that's when creativity comes. When we're turning off planning, that's when creativity comes. And we combine things that totally don't make sense. And out of the blue, we go, "Oh my God, this is so cool." So the studies have shown that when the part of your brain responsible for creativity and coming up with ideas and solutions and kind of being resourceful, as you might say, that's the time your frontal lobes and prefrontal cortex activity goes down. That's the only time you can do that. So when your employees are looking for a solution, please don't ask them to plan. And if you're looking for a solution, don't make a plan and, a checklist. Just sit there and be bored. Another interesting thing from neuroscience is that, the saying that I think all countries, all cultures have, sleep on it. It's freaking actually scientifically proven that that's how it works. That's why you wake up in the morning and you go, "Oh my God, I got it." And they're like, "What do you got? You were just asleep." Well, you know why you got it? Because what happens is because your brain conserves energy and it's lazy. When you're experiencing 255 billion of information slapping at you, it takes it in. You process consciously about 180,000 a minute. That's what, the feeling, the wind, the light, whatever else. And then when you go to sleep, it starts the cleaning. That's why sleep is so important. It cleans out all the irrelevant information, or the information it thinks are irrelevant, which are sometimes relevant. And then you don't remember important things because your brain decided that it's irrelevant. But what it also does, it starts to connect into deep memory from experiences that you had in the past. And it starts connecting information. Neuroplasticity does not happen when you have the experience. Neuroplasticity happens when you're asleep. And that's when the rewiring happens. And that's why you wake up in the morning with an idea. One of the reasons, not the only one. So if you're a scientist listening to me, I'm making it simple. Please Don't come after me. But with that being said,
Yeah.
we have so much power. Our brain, if you're not driving, okay, and if you're not doing anything, can you imagine now describing your favorite food, how it smells, how it tastes, how you're biting, and it just spreads all over your mouth? If you do it properly, describing everything you smell, see, taste, feel, sense, you will start salivating.
It's starting now.
Is there food in front of you?
Negative.
Yeah, because your brain has no clue that you just created alternate reality. And we can use that power, for example, in achieving goals, because your brain does not know that it's not eating. Your stomach will, but your brain doesn't. That's why it started salivating. It thinks the description is so vivid that it's pulling memories and sensations, and it creates an effect of salivation. So we have plenty of knowledge now with brain scans on site while we're doing, experiments with thoughts and thinking. And it's so amazing that we can now take that and use it to our advantage. And it's not psychology, it's your brain. It is literally your brain, an organ. So there's like when you're, for example, having heart problems, are you going to ignore it? Or are you going to go to a cardiologist? I hope you're going to go to a cardiologist. And what they're going to do, they're going to look at your heart. Well, now we can look at your brain. It's see what you feel, and that's a huge disillusion right now in our society. And I understand that we're in the process of turning to the right, and we're going to go back to the left, and we're going to find ourselves in the middle. Your feelings, I'm sorry to sound like Bones from the series Bones.
The Bones, yeah.
Feelings are literally a release of chemicals into your body because of a thought.
Very true.
And your brain lies to you. Your brain literally lies to you. So anytime, for example, when you think, I hate all men. I had a client like this, and she goes, I hate all men. I don't trust any men, and she keeps talking, and she goes, and I have 2 sons and I love them to death. I'm like, excuse me? Did you just say you have 2 sons? She goes, yeah, and I love them. I'm like, fantastic. Do you trust them? Yeah. So it's not true that you hate all men. And she goes, okay, it's not. Great. See, the moment, and generalizations, again, your laziness of your brain, it's easier for your brain to generalize, but your emotional life, your psyche goes, if it's all, then it's overwhelming because it's only 1 against, 4 billion men in the world? That's a lot of men to hate. So what if we would dumb it down and we would go, I hate that man. Hate is a strong word, but let's keep that hate. Sometimes some people need to feel the hate for a while at least. I hate him, that one person. Can you deal with one person that you hate? Absolutely. But with the whole world, half of it, not really. And it becomes overwhelming. And again, our brain does that without us choosing to, because the truth is you don't hate all men. I'm sure I don't hate all women. And, if you've been hurt by women, I guarantee you there are at least 2 women in your life, 1 woman in your life that you actually liked. So the moment we say, oh, it's important to disprove your brain, because your brain does what?
It
lies to you.
Exactly.
Permanently. So you cannot believe every stupid thought you have that releases the chemicals, and you go into flight or flight mode, or you go into anxiety or depression. So that's one thing. But another thing is your brain is part of your body. It is literally part of your body. So if you're not producing in your lovely gut neurotransmitters like not dopamine, that's
serotonin. Serotonin.
Those are brain chemicals. In your blood, you will have iron, ferritin, magnesium, potassium, and D3. Those are neurotransmitters in your blood system. If you don't have enough of those, there's not enough of them going to your brain so it can create new wiring.
Correct.
So
absolutely
sometimes, not always, because depression, anxiety, they're complex. They're not one size fits all. I'm just throwing different things at you. But if you feel down, please go do your blood work.
Absolutely.
Don't look for the norm. Look for the optimum. Those are 2 different things.
Oh. Oh my goodness. I love it. Absolutely love it. Because these are all things I'm saying. Oh God. My goodness. What a beautiful distillation of the really important things into one challenging new way of thinking. Because challenging is we are all or nothing people. We are instant gratification. We want it now. But what you are talking about is a progress, is a process, shall I say, and through process you progress. And it is so true. It is doing the small things, the right now things, living in the moment, living intentionally, and making right small decisions on a constant basis that gives you this compound interest, that gives you the ability to grow. And it's so beautiful, but not just doing it all tick, 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 but actually do something, have a smile on your face because you've just washed up. And that's right. And you thought, oh, it's such a huge chore. I don't want to do it. And then you actually measure yourself, and it took you all of 3 minutes to actually wash up, and you've got a smile on your face. And you think, okay, same thing with mowing the lawn. It took me 9 minutes, okay? And there's often something where you think, okay, come on, I don't want to do it. And then you do it, and there's a smile. How cool is that? You've taken action, and you've gone one way, and it's beautiful.
Well, instead of training yourself and repeating, I don't want to do it, is how concentrate on what will I like when I do it. So for me, it will be the smell of grass. I love the smell of grass. I definitely do not like the labor, but what do? I'm like, okay, I don't like the pushing, and it's hard on my hand. My hands are quite weak. Working on that this year. What I do, I put on music, and I listen to music while I do it, and then I enjoy. I take a cup of coffee. Don't tell Dr. Amen. And I, enjoy drinking coffee while looking at the cat lawn. Or sometimes, so it is so important not to keep repeating stuff. I hate doing this. Because every time I say that, there is a connect. Your brain created a shortcut,
Correct.
right? And releases certain chemicals, and then you feel a certain way. We don't want to feel like that.
Yep.
So one of the things, I don't know if you know, besides giving yourself a high five, is putting a smile and raising your eyebrows. This is how you learn quicker, and you release more dopamine binding chemicals. Yeah. So that's one of the things you could do. It is putting yourself, and it's like, how amazing is it going to be? Because I won't have to do that for another 2 weeks. I mean, how awesome. So kind of change what you say. It is so important what we say. And I lately have been thinking, how can I put this into a training and into a conversation? The songs you listen to. Mm-hmm. See, songs go into your body. You memorize the words, and songs connect with feelings. Mm-hmm. Songs connect with experiences. Mm-hmm. And if you keep singing, for example, Because I'm Happy by Pharrell Williams, your mood will change. But if you keep singing, Why Did He Leave Me? And I hate whatever, I dislike this, I can buy myself flowers. You're literally priming yourself over and over, repeating the same thing to think in a certain way in a subconscious mind. And
there goes the whole country and Western music down to Goethe.
Yeah. So it is important just to at least recognize that songs influence your mood. Yeah. And they do have influence on your life.
But also, I mean, they can be actually a means to an end. Often enough, men, maybe more than women, are struggling a little bit with their emotions and feeling and really letting things come to the surface. And I certainly have used in the past, and probably still am today, I can use certain music to get myself into a state that I can finally give in and maybe cry. Maybe there has been so much tension and negative emotions building up that I just have to have a decent cry. Give me the right music, I can achieve that state within minutes. So we can use music very intentionally to create a state or create an outcome. And I think that is really beautiful. And everyone does it when they go in the gym. They put some music on that is, beating them up and bringing up the adrenaline, and sympathetic drive goes up. Brilliant. Very few people, or not so many people, will use music to do the opposite, to actually create more a calming effect and a recreational and a change. In both cases, you could take
Really?
control. You could take
When you
action.
go on a date, what type of music do you use?
I don't know. It has been a while. So therefore,
If you would go on a date, what type of music would you use?
No, I hear you. I hear you. So here you are. We can take control. And in a positive way. We can live intentional. Let's call it like that. It sounds less like manipulation, but we can live intentional and say, okay, what do I want to achieve? What is my outcome, or where do I want to be in 5 minutes, in 6 months, a year's time, and actually take consistent action. But what I love with your attitude, or with your teaching, is that we don't go for this all around, burn the boats kind of attitude, and this kind of unsustainable Coca-Cola sweet happiness, fun, always being up there. Yeah. And if you're Tony Robbins and you have got a growth hormone problem, well, good on you, mate. Hey, I think his growth hormone levels are about 5 times that of human averages. So here you go. So there are some of us who have got this kind of intensity, but I bet you even he needs his Fijian island to actually power down.
So one of the exercises for men that I highly recommend and I invite you to try is to start to explore different vocabulary for the same or different feelings. So you have a range. So what they have found in studies, also Stanford in this case, and Oxford did that too, is that people who have a wider range of descriptors of feelings are able to feel less when they choose to. Because most people will say, I hate you, I love you, I despise this, I'm angry,
Right.
I'm lucky, I'm happy, and maybe a few more, we go up to 3. There are
True.
thousands of, I'm peeved, I'm annoyed, I'm irritated. All of those have different emotional connotations.
True.
And the more you use the variety, the more you will able to feel. Because your brain goes, like when you say, I hate this. Well, you don't really hate this, you're actually angry. You're just angry. It has nothing to do with hate. And I invite especially men to explore vocabulary on their own. What does it mean to be peeved? And how would I act if I would feel peeved? Or how would I act if I'm annoyed? Or how would I act if I'm irritated? And build that vocabulary, because that will allow you to actually express emotions without going from a 0 to 100, because there's no, when you feel peeved, you feel peeved. When you're pissed off, you're pissed off. But when you have a range, you're able to feel other things than just those 10 that you've been always using. And it's a great exercise, because then you have to actually stop going, okay, so what does it mean to be peeved? Like, what I feel.
Dominika, what you have forgotten to say is that you actually have to stop and feel and think for a moment, because most of us are running around like blue-ass flies and trying to be everything for ourselves, for everyone else. We are actionaholics, if there is a word like that. We are just doing action, but not intentional. It's just often reaction to whatever is happening around us. And we are not taking the time out. We are not taking the time to actually just sit for a moment. What you were saying to foster a good nighttime routine, a good sleep routine that then allows your brain to connect, allow the neuroplasticity to occur, the healing to occur, the making sense of chaos during the day to occur. That is all happening at nighttime. Or it can happen in those times when we actually give ourselves the permission to calm down. when you actually start learning to do some breath work, where you're learning how to do some diaphragmatic breathing. And if that is maybe you start into spirituality, you start into changing your state towards something which is calmer. And it is those calm moments when suddenly thoughts come in and maybe realizations come in. So you don't have to wait for sleep and then waking up for a good idea. You can actually start producing an environment at certain times in the day where you say, now I look after myself. Now I look after my brain. Now I look after my whatever word you want to give it. When you just actually calm down and think, and suddenly your brain comes up with solutions, and that's so beautiful.
So it's interesting that you say this, because yesterday I was talking to one of my friends, and I had this aha moment that we are all thinking that by having manners, we are in a receiving mode. And let me tell you what I came up with. Manners is saying, thank you. Oh, that's so nice of you. Thank you for the compliment. I appreciate that. And you move on. That's manners. That's being polite. That's not a receiving mode, which is necessary for being present. Receiving mode will require you to stop and feel what you heard, take a breath, and then say in a way that that person will feel heard and seen. Thank you. I really appreciate that. Make it very intentional. That is a receiving mode, which is absolutely necessary to experience life. We are all in the good manners mode, which means we're not experiencing life. We're just rushing through.
Very, very nicely said, isn't it? It's again, it shows how superficial we have become. In necessity because our life has become more chaotic and more
and who has control of the chaos?
Nicely said. Nicely said. I mean, in your own life, how much time do you put into trying to create a calmness or a serenity, moments of peace, so to speak? How does it work for you?
Have to really create anything. It's there because I took away the human doing and became a human being.
Ooh, nice. Okay. But okay, you have had a little bit of a head start there compared with many others out there. What would you maybe recommend someone who comes new into your life and you want to give them a bit of a guideline, so to speak, where they may start?
Well, that depends what's important to them. How I've started was by first learning to celebrate my little tiny successes. Second thing, one of the things that's non-negotiable for me is my time. My time that's scheduled in a day. It's not scheduled by the hour, so I take it when I can, but it's non-negotiable. So I go for a walk. For me, being in nature, being around birds, it's so, okay, I gotta tell you this. My girls, I have 24-year-old twins. This is hysterical. And they came to me and they showed me a TikTok. So their generation, careful, they have discovered silent walking. So I have been practicing that silent walking for years. And there's this girl instructing people how to go on a walk and listen to the birds, first for 5 minutes to taking out their music and just walk and don't talk to anybody. And then you do it 10 minutes and then you do it 15 minutes. And I was watching this going, walking. So I recommend the young generation and my generation and any other generation, the silent walking technique. Okay? You get to walk in the nature and beautiful. Concentrate on the birds, concentrate on the sounds outside. And try to have breaks in your thinking. That I'm going to say on purpose, try, because that takes practice. And by the way, if you get to 2 minutes of silence in your head, you are a rock star. don't believe that monks have silence in their head for 5 hours and people who meditate are in silence for 10, 20 hours. Those are seldom examples of odd brain. 2 minutes, you're a superstar. 15 seconds, you're a superstar.
Absolutely. But that's the skill of meditation. That's the skill that you actually allow your body to calm down. And thoughts will come. For crying out loud, you've got 70,000 thoughts a day. I mean, what do you expect? That suddenly it just all stops? No, they come, but it's a skill that you say, oh, hello, thought. Nice thought. And you just let it go again. And you don't have to respond to it. It's just, there's a cloud coming. Okay, hello, cloud. And it's the same with thoughts. Let them come, let them go. But maintain your breathing, maintain your calmness. Just go back to thinking nothing. So it's beautiful. And it's a skill, but a skill that you need to practice. If you have never done it before, you think, what the hell? Especially if you lived a very active or reactive lifestyle, to actually just sit there. I mean, the first time I meditated, I felt, in my adult life, I felt rabbity and it was awful. It was not a nice feeling. I felt I had to do something. I must be active. I must be doing, and it was weird. Whilst in the past, actually, without calling it meditation, I was doing something like that very regularly after martial arts. We would sit in the dojo, we would calm down, we would breathe, focus on the breathing. We just didn't call it meditation. But that was the most beautiful, serene place. And it's that kind of training where you need to teach yourself, this is now my time out. This is how I look after myself. And this can be 2 minutes, 5 minutes. It's these micro breaks that are so powerful and that are so restorative in your daily life. If you were to put a time frame on it, what do you think? How many minutes a day would you spend in that kind of me time?
I take about an hour because I combine that with walking. I enjoy walking.
Nice.
And I do special exercise that you can do for meditation while walking when you clear your head. And I also am in nature. I love the smell of forest after the rain, the grass. That gives me kind of, so one of the things I was taught by Master Ko, if you've never encountered him, I invite you to follow the guy. He is a master of pranic healing. And sometimes he does meditations, and outside of the Twin Hearts meditation of things, he gives you little tips and tricks. And one of those is when you concentrate on the sounds outside of birds and the smell of grass, your brain is not able to produce thoughts because you're concentrating and smelling things, and it's processing that consciously. So it takes up the thinking space. Another method that I learned from somebody else is concentrate on counting. That's why counting works to calm you down. Just count, breath in 4, breath, hold it for 6, let it out for 8, and just count that. And when you're concentrating on counting and breathing, your brain, again, will be concentrated on this part of your face. So your head will be cleared and you're like, oh, where are all my thoughts? Now, don't get me wrong. Thinking is good. We're not saying don't think. Please do think. Thinking is good. Yet, I can give you another tip. If you're, one of my coaches in the past, and I do use that exercise with my clients now, they asked me, if you would speak to other people the way you speak to yourself, how many friends would you have?
0.
So what she did, she had me prepare a stack of little pieces of paper and have a little box with an opening. And every time I would tell myself something very smart, like you're an idiot, or whatever else I would tell myself, I would just write it down and put in that box. And we did it for a month. And then we took it out. I want you to guess how many little pieces of paper were there in a month.
It's hard because I don't work in one place, so it would be hard to do. I would say...
you have a little bottle or something you can put it in.
Okay.
You can keep it with you.
Oh, hell, there would be at least 20 a day, I would think, if I was then actually writing them down. Probably far many more that go underneath the radar. 20 a day.
729. And when
In a
I
month.
started reading this, and I thought of communicating like this with people that I care about, when there's no way I can like myself if I speak to myself like this.
Very nice.
Simple exercise. You can do it on your own. You don't need a coach for that.
Very nice. That's so true. But having said that, I like the way that you're coming back to the coach, because these are all very, very valuable things that we are sort of saying. And the problem is that whilst you're maybe in this kind of, hey, it's January, New Year's resolution, you're a bit more receptive to those kind of things. The moment the hard work life hits you again and family is chaotic and everything is chaotic, you keep forgetting these little things. Whilst a coach is someone who holds you accountable. A coach is someone who actually helps you. It's just like a gym buddy. It's so much easier to say, I skipped the gym, if you don't have someone waiting there for you. The same with a coach. So I think that is so important to realize that you need someone who is able to bring more value into your life and help you to evolve into the human that you want to become. There is a saying that if you surround yourself with 6 millionaires, it's really difficult for you not to become a millionaire. And if you surround yourself with 6 very creative people, it's very hard for you not to become creative. The problem is we surround ourselves with maybe not such great role models, sometimes by choice, sometimes not by choice. But how would it be?
Everything is by choice. Everything is by choice. There's no situation in your life when you get to it, you get to choose, are you staying in it, are you going?
Nice,
so
nice,
you have
nice. Extreme ownership. I love it. Okay. But I'm just saying, how would it be now if you actually were to create a power team that you surround yourself with, and you are the dumbest member of that team? Would that not be very likely that you get so many more breakthroughs, and that you evolve in a much faster time than if you just try to sort of reinvent the wheel and try to get 2 flints together to start fire? Maybe there are more effective ways to live. And wow. I think, don't you think so, Dominika?
I think that will depend in which place in your life are you. Because if you're at the stage of your life, which is a stage I suggest ending as soon as possible, comparing yourself to others, you'll become overwhelmed and you will not gain anything from those 6 amazing people. But if you compare yourself to self for progress, and self to others for inspiration, you'll be able to receive what they're giving you. See, we tend to, my nose is itching for love. I don't know. That's a Polish saying. If it's left. Not that I believe it, but hey, if love is coming, I'm taking it.
Well, exactly.
So, they say that life is exactly what you make it, right? And fortune favors the bold, but you got to be ready for that life. When we look at people on social media, or when we meet people, we see them for an hour and we based all our opinions based on that freaking hour without the visuals behind. And then you compare yourself to that 1 hour that you've seen. For crying out loud, do you think those people really got here like at the very beginning of the road? No, they have not. None of them have. But you forget that there's a history behind it. And that history is what they became. And the question is, do you want to take the road that they took and fall as many times as they did? Because you will have to. See, we see the results. And that's what the danger of a society concentrated on results is. Because then we compare ourselves at the beginning of a road. I think the best example is one of my ex-clients. We finished our coaching program. She's doing great. She's a phenomenal, beautiful woman. She has been in one position for about 12 years at a corporate. And she decided she's ready for her own business. She got to a point where she was making 150K. And after 6 months, she became my client. She goes, I'm failing. I'm horrible. I'm like, what are you failing at? Well, I'm not making money. You're not making money. How many clients do you have? 10. How long have you been in business? Well, 5 months. I'm like, oh. She goes, oh, 10. I'm like, did you pay your bills with the money you made? Well, yeah. Oh, you're not making money. Well, I am, but I'm like, what is the but? Well, I used to make 150,000. I'm like, fantastic. When did you start at that company? Well, 12 years ago. Great. What did you start with? 32,000. I'm like, are you making more than 32,000 right now? She goes, yeah. I'm like, how long did it take you to get 150,000? 12 years. And you've been doing this how long? Oh, 4 months. Oh, okay.
Exactly. Yeah.
And she had this aha moment that she's setting unrealistic expectations for herself. See, we forget she's not starting from scratch. She's starting from experience. That's why in 4 months she was able to pay for her bills, and she made the 32,000. So she obviously in 4 months made more than when she started. But she was expecting to substitute her income within literally 4 months of something she worked for 12 years. She forgot her history. We forget our history, and we forget all our friends and people that we admire have that history. So the moment we start concentrating on the process and the progress, we will take away the blame and overwhelm and anxiety of comparing ourselves to a moment in time that we see.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I like that a lot. The keeping up with the Joneses is very hard, and it's so easy. And that's where I guess sort of also that's sort of the brother of the imposter syndrome, where very quickly you sort of beat yourself down and very quickly think, oh my God. And my Steps to Sobriety, the 3rd edition, is being launched this month. And I look into Kindle, and there are all kind of other beautiful books out there. And immediately I think, oh God, who am I? Who am I to publish a book? You know, it's that kind of. And I really have to pick myself up and say, come on, stop it. You have this book is that 3rd edition is fantastic. But it is that I really got these words that are coming in there, and these kind of, it's so easy. We are so much more primed to put ourselves down rather than celebrate the small wins, celebrate the kind of things. And it's just, it's an ongoing challenge. Do you still get imposter syndrome?
Oh, of course I do. Of course I do. So I'm part of the Neuroencoding Institute, and I also coach new coaches there in the neuroencoding method. And one of the exercises we have at the Neuroencoding Institute with Joseph McClendon is that we're having something called a spotlight. So there is a subject to be coached, and then out of the blue, you just get a spotlight and you got a coach, and then you disappear and somebody else comes in, and then somebody else comes in, and they have to pick up where it was, and we need to get them to the result. And sometimes when I see people that are amazing, I'm like, oh gosh, I wish I would have had that question, or, oh gosh, I wish I've asked that question, or, oh no, she's making, way more money than I am. That means she's better. Yeah. No, it doesn't. And I also learned that I started to measure my value by results my clients get. Because I used to think, is it making me feel, do I think I did a good job? It really doesn't matter if I think I did a good job, like at all. It matters, do they think they got value? And what did they get from it, and how much did it impact them? Yeah. My opinion, what questions could I have asked, or what else could I have done, is important but irrelevant. Because if they see value and they're going, oh my God, this is 10 out of 10 for today, I loved it. Yeah. And then I would go, yeah, right. Well, he's probably saying that because, they feel bad. you going with this? Like, what are you doing? And
Exactly.
I realized that I'm taking away the privilege of them being happy for themselves that they made progress because I've applied my own rules, and my rules don't apply to their life. They have their own set of rules. They have their own vision of how life's supposed to be and what's good. What's good for them doesn't have to be good for me.
Perfect.
Yet they have to be happy with their progress, not me. At the end of the day, they're going home, not me. So it took a while for me. And I do have, I'm a woman, right? I get those days when, nobody loves me. I'm ugly, fat, and, the whole world is horrible. And, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm a terrible coach. Blah, 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 blah. So then I whine in bed, and I not drink wine, but whine, like complain, and I cry, and I do all this stuff. And then I'm like, okay, well, I'm done now. Time to move on, because it's important to feel. It's important not to stay in feelings that hold you down.
Absolutely.
So they're there for a reason, because in my case, those are hormones. Being perimenopausal ladies, if you're in that stage, I feel so sorry for you. Please get hormone replacement therapy if you can, because it saves lives and sanity. Yes. And also, your husbands, boyfriends, and men will not kill you. That's another important thing. And you will not kill yourself. But that's on the kind of joking side. But the hormones do have a huge influence on your brain. And that's another thing. If I get a woman in perimenopause, first question, have you been checked out for perimenopause and menopause? Because your mood swings might be related to that. Absolutely. Your body aches, all the other things. I'm not an expert in that, but I know to direct you to make sure, because your brain is part of your whole body. You can't be great in your mind and failing in every other part of your body. You do need to take care of everything.
Absolutely. And that's so beautiful, because throughout the whole our beautiful interview here, you have highlighted the importance of the sleep, the importance of the nutrition, of giving your body actually what it needs to actually function to its best possibilities, to that. And I love the way that you were saying the iron, because so many women are running around low in iron, therefore low in hemoglobin, and they just feel like crap. There is no energy, there's nothing there. And it's such a simple thing to actually get your yearly checkup, or really it should be a 6-monthly checkup, and actually someone doing some sensible bloods on you, and you actually figure out, hey, girl, or boy, it goes both. It doesn't matter how you describe yourself. Get some blood tests done, because you might have some surprises waiting there for you. And the moment you actually deal with them, and someone holds the mirror in front of your face and says, "Hey, look, your vitamin D is virtually non-existent," well, no surprise that you're feeling like crap, or that you're frequently a bit more down and getting colds and cold sores and whatever. This is all, we are an intricate web, where whilst we're focusing on neuroplasticity and the beautiful brain. Well, when we say neuroplasticity, it doesn't just work up there. 1.5 kilogram of nervous tissue there, 1.5 kilogram of nervous tissue around your beautiful gut, okay, and then some in other places. So this is all working together. So by us actually taking action, and by looking after ourselves, by giving ourselves the nutrition, the right nutrition, you're suddenly taking ownership. You're suddenly taking action. You have got another reason to celebrate. Even if I make myself a simple sandwich, I go out to my garden, pick some bloody spinach. Even if I don't want to, even if it rains, I still pick the bloody spinach, put the spinach on there, look at it and say, you're looking after yourself. So I've just taken action. Took me 30 seconds, but I've taken action, and it's something I can celebrate. And therefore, based upon that little win, I can then make the next decision, maybe to say, well, okay, now I've eaten something. Hey, how about actually having some water? Make sure you rehydrate. And now the next thing, what can I do? Okay, I need to wash up. Cool. What kind of podcast am I listening to? Huberman Lab, or what kind of, whatever there is. Hey, let's actually explore. And then later, okay, what would I like to do as a treat? And cheesecake doesn't count on that case, okay? As a treat for myself, maybe, I know Polish cheesecakes, come on, Polish and German ones, come on. But then again, here I am. In the past, I wrote a book, Dangerously Good German Cheesecakes. And nowadays, I live as a functional medicine man, so I should write a book about dangerously good bliss balls or something like that, where I do the same thing. I get the same beautiful taste, but I know they're loaded with things that my body needs. So again, I take action. And it's so beautiful. And these are little things. And I see that smile, feel that smile coming onto my face, because it is exactly what you are describing, Dominika. It is exactly those little steps. Plant them next to each other, and very soon you've got a foundation. Then start building on that foundation. And very soon your life is very different. And it has not taken you $10,000. Hey?
Can I make a distinction? So what you're saying is a very masculine energy, and I really appreciate that. A feminine energy, for exactly what you're saying, would say, I am creating daily activity, because action is powerful in one time. Activity is consistent and repetitive.
Okay. I'll take that. I'll take that. And that's
It's beautiful what you said. So, we are different. You are a man, as far as I can see. Good assumption, but I will assume, and I am definitely a woman, as far as everybody can see, and as I define myself. With that being said, we perceive world differently, and it's so important to recognize that different words carry different energy with it.
Yeah.
So it's great that you do that, because you resonate with men who need to take action. They need to be strong. And that's something that resonates with them. Most women that are feminine women will resonate with activity and continuous flow. And activity is continuous flow.
Beautiful. The power of words. I think that is such a underlying theme here with you, Dominika, and I could not agree more. A friend of mine is a coach, and she constantly picks me up on the choice of words and etc. And whilst it is annoying, I can't say a sentence that is not being corrected. I love it. I love it, actually, what she says and what you are saying, because it reflects immediately upon the state in which I put myself subconsciously with the choice of words that I've been using. So it very much comes with that inner critic kind of thing. And we can teach that inner critic. We can change that inner critic by being more intentional in the choice of words. So I love it.
Absolutely.
I love it. Dominika, I could talk with you for hours. Maybe we should do a monthly kind of monthly kind
Let's
of.
go.
Yes, Dominika again in our interview 780. No, it's beautiful, because it is you raise so many things, and I think it just shows how much activity. I'm trying to use your words. How much you have invested in yourself to grow. You learn, you apply, you don't take things for granted. And with every waking hour and probably sleeping hour, you're actually trying to become a different human being. Have you figured out who you want to be when you grow up? Who is the Dominika in a year, in 5 years' time?
So again, feminine energy flows. Feminine energy just goes a direction, and we're like rivers. If we see obstacles, we'll go over it. Men provide banks of those rivers. Sometimes we overflow, but because there are banks, we're able to come back and keep flowing the right direction. My direction is overall happiness, because I believe that when I'm happy, I get to share that in abundance with everybody else.
Yeah.
And happiness, as depression and sadness, is contagious. And if you're going to get infected by me, I would prefer you get infected by happiness and joy than by sadness and me being groggy. So with that being said, I think when I'm in a state of being joyful and happy, I become creative and I can serve people more. and I can provide more help. I am more creative. I can inspire more people. I can get through them in a different way. And it allows me to touch lives here and there. So world becomes just a little bit a better place. Masculine energy would put numbers on it and goals. For me, it's not there. It used to be, because I had that mask because of what I was doing, and my misery kind of came from it. And I thought being feminine is a weakness. I see what a strength it is, because water gets through everywhere.
Very true.
Correctly, very clear.
Very true.
Banks are just there. They're not going anywhere. They're just stuck.
Dominika, you're an amazing woman. I'm sure many people want to know more about you. First of all, show us your book, please. Show us the cover of your book. There you are. Guys, go out there. By the time you have got that interview coming live, it is out there. Grab it, read it, digest it, feel it, and then take your own lessons from it. And Dominika, if
I'm going to add that it's for people who get overwhelmed. It is only 64 pages.
Oh, wow.
On purpose, 64 pages. It's full of stories. You have QR codes with downloadable worksheets and other things you'll receive with it. And it allows you can read this book for 2 months and practice what's in it, or you can read it in one day, whatever works for you. There's no overwhelm coming, just ideas and aha moments that you get to implement and then practice if you choose to.
Excellent. And if people want to know more about you, where can they find you?
Well, they can always find me by my first and last name, which is Dominika Staniewicz, or they can type in anywhere in the Google search, Facebook, Instagram, and my website, Your Brain Coach D, like Dominika, and I'll show up, and there are little videos there, and you get to learn a lot of things, or you can, see me at one of the keynotes that I do, or webinars that I do on my own, or do it with other coaches. I hope that each and every person that listened got just one little thing, just one. And if you got a lot of them from today, choose one, the easiest thing to implement. So it's easy to celebrate. Don't choose the hardest. Choose the easiest one, implement it and celebrate. And then you can move out to the second easiest thing. Don't start with the hard things. Enjoy life. Life is amazing if you allow it to be.
Beautiful. Dominika, you're an amazing woman. It was an absolute honor and privilege to have you as a guest on my show. I wish you a fantastic 2024. And again, thank you so much for being here.
It was my absolute pleasure and honor. Thank you for allowing me to be your guest.
And you guys out there, look after yourself and live with passion. Hey, bye.
Bye.
I never give up. I never give up. I never give up. Turn around.